Quite excited to go through this one. Our lobby's pretty much ready, so we're going to get to game ASAP. Let's see what the map is here for our final matchup of this evening. Got a good variety. Not the APAC Villa gameplay that we've had. Cafe Dostoyevsky. All right, this is a very interesting decision. G2 had the final say. They removed Consulate, which is a map BDS are usually. I mean, look, let's be honest. Is there any map that BDS isn't comfortable on? They were terrible. They were trash at Theme Park, and then they still learned and got better after a while.
That's the hard thing, though, is that was the argument that was made about them at the major finals, was they usually didn't have a deep map pool, and now they've kind of gone, none. We do.
No,
and it's
you don't pronounce
kind of,
the N.
Listen, 7-5. And to be honest, with G2 on Cafe, all I remember is the kill on the diffuser. I think it was Uno died or Uno got the kill on somebody. Either way, it was a moment of like, uh-oh, G2.
Pap, have you recovered?
I don't know if I can
fine.
speak. I don't know.
Your voice is beautiful.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'd be not fine in a couple of seconds from
All right,
now.
wait, well, you only got a couple seconds. How do you see this going? G2 BDS.
It's going to be a true fight because BDS, if they win here today, they'll secure their first place in the 27. So I don't think they'll be going easy on G2 here. Unless they just don't care, then G2 can take it.
Both teams are pretty comfortable when it comes to the major and to the league finals. They're at the top for they are, as Rogue has plummeted all the way down to the bottom. You're going to be pretty comfortable in your position. Let's see how this game shapes up. It's Jessachu, and, well, I choose you yet again for a final game. Enjoy.
That's a much softer throw, wasn't it, Jess? Much more the kind of thing we need this late at night or this early in the morning if you're Jess, but maybe not commanding at the hype that this game deserves. The top two teams, G2 versus BDS. The last time these two teams played on this map was all the way back in February at a little tournament called Six Invitational, in which G2 took it 7-4. This is going to be a spicy one. It's G2's most played map this year. It's BDS's third most played map this year. They are both very comfortable on it, and that only promises an excellent showdown between arguably the two greatest teams in Europe at the moment.
You say arguably, I say definitively. 35 points for BDS over stage 1 and 2, 31 for G2, which is well above the third place of Virtus Pro on 26. This is undoubtedly a clash of giants here. And as we head into the ban phase here, will we see a little bit of a repeat of history, especially for both of these teams? For the most part, we'll see G2 get rid of either a Thatcher, a Nomad. We've seen an Ash ban come out of them as well. And then on the flip side for BDS, they've been getting rid of Thatcher, Maverick, and a Shield, oftentimes a Monty. But this time, Habana and a Thatcher coming out. And this is a much more meta set of attacking bans here, Des. I like to see a Habana go out, but you've still got Ace to play with, something that G2 does play with quite a lot. So obviously they're not going to get rid of it. What a surprise, a My ban coming out of BDS here. I mean, we've seen that 100,000 times. And a Valkyrie coming out. Interesting, because when you look at BDS, that's banned against them a lot, especially on this map. So,
I'm very curious to see what happens now to G2's attacking lineup, because very commonly they love bringing something like an IQ. We know that Citizen has been playing a lot of that. Obviously, we won't see it in the first half as they do start on defense here, but now that you've got the Valkyrie away, Echo still being default ban for a while, that could invite the fact that with those two banned away, there is no requirement for an IQ, and potentially they try and make some changes, bring along some more grenades, anything to help you deal with the utility meta that you might find active here, given that both Maestro and Goyo are well and alive. And as I say, it almost breathes into existence, Jess. You're going to see the Goyo and the Maestro being brought along. Those bulletproof gadgets both requiring great amount of explosives, and the Kali being 6 picks over at the last second for Rafael. That could be interesting, because we've seen Carly in a bit of a rise, I think, during this meta, being very, very effective at destroying things like the Evil Eyes.
Selmas can do it as well. I think people forget that Selmas also can destroy shields. You can place it on any part of the shield and it will explode and deploy as it would on a wall. But the lances of Akali are what make her really, really viable. The shotgun is not, the sniper is not why they take Kali. It's those lances. And I've seen what, Pengu can do with the SPS and G9, which is the secondary, most popular secondary for Kali. So she's still super viable. And Rafael's a great support flex player for BDS, so I can see him really honing those skills that a great Kali player should be.
By the looks of it, G2 going for the setup that we've seen quite a lot of teams starting to employ inside of storage on the top floor. When you have half the wall opened up, you stick a shield inside of it and use that to peek and threaten inside of Piano. Some teams have been doing an extension equally as they always... Oh, no way did he try and go for that and get shut down and domed by the god Shaiiko himself. Citizen, I appreciate the attempt, buddy, but you've got to remember there is a big fragger in this game. In fact, there's quite a few of them, but Shaiiko most definitely showing himself to be one of them.
Des, you know what was huge about that? They tried to use a distraction method up in the Piano window so that they would look up rather than down, and Shaiiko still read them like a book. That's unbelievable. What a good start to this game.
What can I say? Shaiko's all too aware of making these kind of plays from playing FPL an awful lot. So I think he's more than aware of how window play works in this game. Great start to shut down the Legion. Admittedly, it's not world ending to lose a Legion. You'd rather lose that than something like the Goyo or potentially lean towards the Smoke or the Maestro. You do lose out on those regenerating traps or goo mines as the game goes by, but again, it's not an absolute world ender. You can still see from the side of G2 how aggressively they're playing inside of Piano. Uno's at the window and trying to reincarnate the aggressive self from days gone past this stage. We know that he's been a bit quieter lately whilst the rest of G2 has stepped back up, but BDS are just doing BDS things. The number of times that teams have come at them and brought brilliant strats, excellent denial, and BDS still find kills. Doesn't matter how aggressive G2 want to go here, BDS is still finding themselves in a 4 versus 2, and we're only 90 seconds into the round.
I was just going to say that you took the words right out of my mouth. Not even half of the round had elapsed, and there's only 2 members of G2 left. The 2 supporter, Virtue and Pengu. Virtue, well, he's clapping back quite well there. He's got the reflex on the Elder. And I don't think the sight really matters when you've got that many bullets to your disposal. Now the big thing for BDS, collect themselves. You have over 60 seconds. Destroy some of those cams. Move some of those shields out of your way. Maybe pop out some smokes and try and fake out a plant. Because what you need now is Pengu's 3 smoke babes gone so you can feel more confident getting into sight. Otherwise, they could do a flood, Des, and flood the site and use their numbers to overwhelm. But now they're slowing things down. This is what I like to see.
Slowing things down and bearing in mind you're still playing into 3 smoke canisters. Again, as I say, it's breathed into existence. The first one comes out at the 45-second mark. It's not going to be world ending here. Those will all expire, but it's going to be one of those Hail Mary pushes, I think, coming out of BDS. They have got no drones left. They're still having to watch the clock run down thanks to these smoke grenades coming out, and you've got the 2 top-rated players left alive in Pengu and Virtue from G2's last game coming up against Chaos. They did a lot of work for the side. These are the 2 that you want, especially knowing that Pengu had the most clutches back in stage number 1. We hit that 20-second mark. Pengu, all out of smoke canisters, means that it has to happen now. It's now or never for the side of BDS. They're going to force Pengu to move. Playday goes down as they haven't accounted for where Virtue might be holding out inside of storage. Shaiiko is trying to make it happen, but 5 seconds on the clock. Pengu's in behind. Shaiiko didn't know he was in the back corner. That lack of drone players absolutely shafted BDS. They have been removed there in a 4 versus 2. I said it again. Pengu and Virtue, the 2 players you went left alive in a situation like that, and G2 bring that round back, and even with all that time, BDS could do nothing.
I've got goosebumps head to toe right now. We asked for a good game and we've damn well got it. And we've almost got an entire game's worth of hype in one singular round.
I'm done, Jess. That's it. I'm about to get a coffee. I need to wake myself up again.
Whew. I cannot hype this enough. And the reason I cannot hype it up enough is that from the beginning of the round, where that attempted, bait of a spawn peek came out, the counter spawn peek came out, over to C4s from windows, and then multiple players clutching up there. This is the epitome of 2 giants clashing at full speed. I am so excited. I'm really excited that we get to cast this match, and I'm glad you're here to give it justice, Des, because that's exactly what you did.
Jess, calm yourself down. Put your bum back on your seat. Stop hovering, because I know you're excited.
Yep.
But this is one of those, because you've got to buckle yourself in for another potentially 11 rounds of this yet. How about that? Let's see if it ends in a draw, though. Or I guess a question to ask you while we've got a bit of time, actually. Who did you have as your prediction for this game?
I think I put BDS. No? Did I? I don't know. Can I confirm with you once I double check?
You are welcome to confirm. It's not an absolute urgent reply that I need to have out of you right this second. I think both of us probably went for BDS, I'd imagine.
All right, let's have a look. Scrolling down our predictions.
No, I went G2. Ooh, okay.
I said draw.
You put a draw.
I said draw.
Ooh.
Ooh, spicy. Who's going to be right?
There'll be a lot of angry BDS fans like, goddamn biased casters not voting for BDS best team in Europe. Well, it's a draw or it's a G2 win according to us. I'd love for us to both be wrong because that just leads to everyone being pleasantly surprised, and that's the best kind of prediction you can have. Let's see how round number 2 plays out. Starting things off down in Kitchen, we're going to see a test facing for G2. Whenever I think of them on Cafe, is the amount of time they've had wasted when they're on the attacks. Against Na'Vi, they did quite a lot the same, to be fair, and I always remember this game from back in Stage 1. The amount of time that both teams wasted against each other was sublime. And seeing in that last round how BDS ran out of drones, even just trying to poke into the top floor, they've got to go through the top floor, they've got to go through the second floor, they've got to then get into Kitchen itself. This could end up being a real disaster for them when it comes to information, and they've got to try and catch out where Pengu is. He's lying inside a cigar. First drone comes in. That's always going to be your key to move away, get yourself back to safety. Rafal already lost both of those drones, and just in case someone was coming to Scarlet to try and catch Pengu as he retreated, that C4 was there as a nice distraction, or at least an opportunity to try and get the opening kill.
The trouble with how Pengu's playing this is he's a solo roamer now. He's actually trying to delay time. That's a huge good night there with SBS and G9. I said players who could play it well. Pengu is one, and he'll actually get a taste of his own medicine. The big thing about why Pengu throwing that C4 out was right, and a lot of people would say it was wrong, is that when you play a solo lurk roam role and your whole purpose is to either take a sneaky pick or to waste time, you have to be desperate. You have to play rather desperately. You can't play passively because that's not the point of that kind of roam. So Pengu played it well to begin with, and then not so well when he got close to that angle there. So well done to Rafal for catching on to that. You said you don't like teams who take too long to get that vertical control. How are you feeling now that they've got one pick and they're starting to open things up?
I feel it's pretty good, to be fair, now they clear Pengu out. And given that was at the 1 minute 50 odd mark or so, to have now got downstairs in about 20 seconds and been swinging that hammer away at the floor is good. They've cleared through the third floor, cleared through the second floor, and are now sniffing straight down. You can see those outlines at the top of your screen. All 4 members of BDS holding out on the top floor with Shaiiko watching the stairs in case there is any sneaky business coming out of G2 up White stairs. It does give them a lot of control, but my question is, where does the attack come from? Are we looking here towards going through Fireplace, or is there a different alternative available for BDS? I would wager the answer is no, as more often than not, that is the go-to attack that we see coming out of teams.
Shaiiko, surely not. Surely this pinch from a Lems onto Cantor Raketti with Shaiiko in tow.
Smoke.
Yeah, the smoke is playing there purely out of the fact that that's where you usually have that shield player play.
On the smoke.
Yeah, that's an interesting player to have on there, but they brought Uno on the Warden as well, so they've changed up a couple of operators, so I can understand that he wants to play this power position because we've got less than 20 seconds left. This is huge for Canto.
Mate, how many times do you have to talk around big fraggers in Europe? Citizen, Joystick coming up huge on operators like the Smoke. Manages to do quite a lot of work, but Shaiiko does Shaiiko things. 2 heads are clipped. Can he find the next couple to go through as well? It's down to the final 2 seconds here. It's all or nothing to go for a plant, and BDS is sticking it.
No
the
way.
challenge comes through, but like I say, Shaiiko, he just hits those shots every single time. 3 kills out of seemingly nowhere is going to save this round for BDS. Otherwise, we could have been looking at a 2-0 for G2, given how the clock has been handled so far. Uno's got a lot of work to do, and as a player that in the first few weeks had so many frags to his name but then settled down as the rest of G2 awoke, I'm not expecting big things from him. Shaiiko connects to 4K. What is this? Like, there is no way any team should have 15 seconds left and a single player just goes, right, I'm going for a walk. Oh, that's 4 kills, by the way, guys. I guess we win the round.
A little bit of a stroll in the park for Shaiiko there, I think. I think he thought, you know, it's just another day of FPL for me. I have no doubt in FPL, and if you guys are wondering what FPL is, it's kind of like the little system of games that they have outside of like 10-man sort of games that a lot of these pros are invited to, and they get to play against each other. A little bit more than ranked, a little bit less than competitive. It's a nice middle ground, and Shaiiko dominates that world as well. So there's probably not a singular world in Siege at the moment where Shaiiko doesn't dominate. He's got a ton of fans. He's playing for the best team in Europe. He's dominating a lot of the stats for his team in Europe. It used to be Playday, and now Shaiko's the one stepping up in Stage 2. Name a thing this man cannot do. That's the big talking point here for BDS, is that he is able to make plays like that a reality when other teams don't have playmakers like that.
It's not just in-game as well. He presses 4 faster than anyone else, it seems to go. No doubt chat is filled with it every single time he steps up. Mashing that 4. The 4K, of course, I'm talking about there. Not the 4 key, don't be daft. But 4 kills in a round for Shaiiko. I have zero doubt chat was absolutely emphatic at that. Anyway, round number 3. We've seen The two sides of these teams here so far. BDS with the capability to walk through a site with no time left and collect the kills they need. G2 to have incredible clutch potential when all their cards are out on the table in a 2 versus 4. That's two big strengths we've seen so far. I have zero doubt we'll see more as the rounds progress. Let's have a look at how Reading and Fireplace goes. Key change to mention here compared to when they were defending the upstairs is they have reinforced these storage walls and even electrified them out, with Uno below having the electroclaw, I believe, inside of Reading. So it shouldn't be too easy to deal with. That is very effective given there is a Carly on side who normally would be brought along to deal with those kind of gadgets.
I was looking over towards the stats of G2, especially on Cafe, to work out how defensive sided they are as a team on Cafe. They're 65.5% defensive sided. Their attacks have suffered considerably compared to BDS, which is a 52% defensive sided team. And BDS have won most of their encounters. So that goes to show that BDS might be the more well-rounded team, but what we've seen from G2 is that their support players, for example, so far can do the work of 5, let alone, I don't know. I mean, you're going up against the best team in Europe, and you've got 2 players who can go head to head to head over and over again. They're looking to continue that here on Top Floor Des with this particular setup on Pixel. Surprising it's a Go-Go Shield. I often tout that as a not a very smart way to play that corner because it explodes and it obviously impedes the Pixel player, from being able to play there. But that's okay. If that's all they've got, then play with what you've got.
Yeah, Kanto did the smart thing of backing away, and we've seen a couple of teams historically not back away. When you lose the ADSs, it's like, right, I can very clearly tell there is going to be an impact or a breaching round or a frag grenade come flying through very shortly, so I should no longer be hanging around, and they've been burnt by it literally as the shield has gone off. But here Kanto has that presence of mind, as said, to step away and force him to commit a Selma into opening up the bathroom at the same time. And happy that he's wasted utility, that he has done his time. We are down to 1 minute and 10 left. He's going to back away. So really good presence of mind from Kanto to know when to back away when he's done his work. It isn't always about getting kills. Sometimes it's just about running that clock down.
That's something that we've said BDS have struggled with here on attack. They've made something out of nothing once and then got caught out on that time management before. Shaiiko, he's able to get the first entry kill here onto G2. It was on Virtue and it was one of those C4s. What can they do with this bursting energy?
Well, he's doing it again. It's 2 kills stepping up. Kanto strikes back, immediately traded out after, mind you, by none other than Shaiiko himself. 8 kills in 3 rounds, by the way. Dude is nearly hitting a 3 KPR. 1 more kill for himself, and he'll be hitting those kind of numbers. That is insane to kick off this matchup against the biggest opposition you will find in this competition. They have this top floor control, but bearing in mind it's taken them 2 minutes to get to this stage, they've now got to start thinking about the site itself. There we go. Shaiiko completes that 3 kill per round mark, and he's not yet done. Mada, as he might say. Charges his way to go look downstairs. Citizens holding up on the half stairs. Rafal brings down Pengu. There's a lot to do for himself here. Nothing else to be found for Shaiiko at the least, but BDS clean up house. Round number 3 going their way, and that's their second attacking round here on Cafe. I was about to say Villa. I said Villa far too much these last 2 days.
How surprising and refreshing to have a team where time management is still an issue. I will absolutely say that BDS aren't as speedy as some other teams. Maybe I can even bring up Team Secret. Sometimes Virtus Pro, especially in stage 1, they showed their prowess on attacking speed, regardless of what's put in front of them. But even though they're down to the dying seconds, they keep cool, calm, collected against the G2, which is very strong. They are the 2nd in Europe at the moment. They are absolute giants of the EUL stage, and for BDS to be able to make such a dominant round against such a good team, because if G2 was going up against any other team today and they were doing the things they're doing here today, they'd be winning these rounds. Let's be frank here, Des.
Yeah, I think it's pretty fair. It does give us a bit of balance. It's only 3 rounds, of course, only potentially the 1/4 of the entirety of this match, giving go all the way up to 12 rounds. If it ends in a draw, it feels almost befitting of these 2 titans, but at the same time, almost wanting you to see more. However, fear not, because with the 2 teams finishing where they currently do, and given they are in the straight and narrow, they are both making it through to the finals in December, and very likely will be the teams that also end up going to the major. I don't believe anyone else can catch them, so you will be seeing them play off again. And let's not forget how the last major went as well. The best of 3 first time round went to G2. The best of 5 final ended 3-2 to BDS after they fought their way all the way up through the lower bracket. You could not look at 2 closer teams in terms of history so far in EU when it comes to delivery and expectation.
It used to be G2 Team Empire. Now I'm feeling the flavor of G2 BDS. That's what I'm feeling. That's the storyline here for both of these teams. They've got a lot of rivalry since stage 1, the mini major, and going into these the EU finals, of which they will be participating, given that no one can catch them here, as well as the major. I mean, these are going to be just storylines we repeat over and over and over again for the rest of 2020. I think it's something that G2 are hoping that they're not having to repeat that reverse sweep that BDS was able to pull on them on the best of 5. It's the most, when you talk about competitive integrity-wise, it's the best way to work out which team is actually best. And I did theorize that possibly the maps actually went the way of BDS, even though it was a best of 5. But here on Cafe, this is an even playing ground for both of these teams, I really feel, and I'm really glad we get to see them battle it out.
Once again, Kanto's back playing in the same spot as he was before, holding on his pixel angle and even looking to challenge, but a little bit of presence of mind being shown by, I believe that was a Lem there on the Nomad. Dips away so as not to get himself sprayed in the head and will keep himself alive, at least for now. That's 90 seconds wasted, and Kanto, still holding onto the pixel spot, is in a pretty comfortable position, can still back away and see that Goyo shield burn out. The one thing you have to consider, of course, is this is bar and cocktail. It is not reading on fireplace, so BDS can take a couple of minutes here to get piano control if they want it, but you've then got to worry about the shield that's inside of storage. Lots of things to clear out here before they can even think about getting inside the room.
I love that G2 swapped it up as well. 2 ADSs over in Pixel. The first time they had both bathroom walls reinforced. This time, however, they're switching it up. They're putting line of sight with the secondary shield in bathroom. And that's not something that BDS would have assumed they would have done, given last time they held here, they didn't have that shield set up. They had it reinforced. How much utility are they going to have to force in towards Pixel and bathroom to displace it? It's not something that they'd previously seen, and they're still trying to cook that second ADS. Where's that from?
Good night, says Una. Might not be able to click on your head, Shaiiko, but I can still blow you sky high with a C4, and just like that, BDS balance things back out. So, all things being equal, we're back to the state we were in before. Was that up through the hatch by any chance?
I believe it was a new hatch drop default C4, which is actually a really default C4, and without an IQ, you need a drone to spot it out, so that's probably my guess there.
Fair enough, fair enough. Either way, it balances things back out, and Pengu being down on that smoke is going to sting for G2 a little bit later on. We'll see with 2 drones left alive, though, if BDS can get enough information. They don't know the sitters inside of the bar. No one's covering the angle. How do they not know? He's managed to get away with it. Does get sprayed in down through storage as Renshiro strikes up big. He's in a 1 versus 2, and Virtue comes up for big for G2 once more. Will take the round away for them. Again, a lack of information stinging BDS a little bit there in the dying moments of a round.
I've got to give a shout out to Virtue. I know, you know, the Australian vibe that I throw across to Virtue oftentimes, but I mean, the proof is in the pudding here. You guys just watched it. Multiple rounds clutched out by the support players here of G2, and that's exactly what Virtue was able to provide for his team. He is the solidified backline. He is the impenetrable force that has allowed them to be able to clutch some of these rounds that would otherwise be in the hands of BDS. And when you are a team that relies on winning defensive rounds on Cafe statistically, you need people like Virtue to step up and pull those numbers.
Ooh, interesting change away from BDS at the last second, dropping the Kali for the first time and instead going over to the Maverick, which makes total sense given the lineup that we're seeing coming out of G2. That Bandit being 6 picked in, probably being anticipated by the side of BDS. We know that we see on maps like Clubhouse, G2 like to play behind the Nile. Heck, BDS have experience playing against Fatality, where Denial was their name of the game with the Bandit and the Kai coming out an awful lot on Clubhouse. So here with that Maverick, I think just gives them that safety of knowing that even if things are electrified off from them, they can still get through using that Maverick.
I think for bottom floor, a Maverick just works better overall, because with the Kali, there's only so much you can do, especially if they're doing a bakery hold as well. You're forced to try and get rid of a lot of utility and force your way into bakery. Fortunately, there won't be that here for G2, and I'm wondering whether or not we'll see BDS look to do what they did last time and try and force that white/freezer push, which is fair enough. That's a viable strategy. But then they had to contend with Cantor Raketti and VIP. This time, Cantor Raketti is playing on the Legion. No smoke to be seen. Not sure if that VIP setup is what they're after. But looking at the shotguns going above, Des, I'm thinking this might be a vertical hold, and the versatility of strategies here from G2 has been very impressive.
Uno almost taken down with a blind spray from Shaiiko there in towards the restaurant area and through the front door. Back thankfully not taken down, so we'll be able to prevail for a little longer and still have an impact. You can see all those ADSs are down, so it's definitely not the end of the world. But I think his plan was to hang around for a little bit longer there out towards Kochek and the front door, because inside 45 seconds, BDS have cleared it out, and they've got the Maverick to work here inside, here inside a bakery. Now, again, I mentioned at the back at the start about this wall denial coming in from the Bandit. This is exactly where it really helps to have a Maverick on side. He'll be getting things done here and opening this one up. And now with that being open, you probably can't re-peek it. So there's going to need to be some vertical work here on the go. And I'm kind of confused why, if you were going to take vertical control regardless, why you bother trying to Maverick the wall open anyway?
I don't think they are. Look at the positioning of Renshiro there.
Yeah.
He is not making any judgment call there from what I can see to go upstairs. In fact, this is a one-dimensional push. BDS last time decided to push upstairs and take freezer control and so on and so forth. And they've done what G2 have done. They don't want to be predictable. They don't want the other team to idealize what it is they're going to do and adapt to it quickly, because G2 is a very good adaptive team. Both teams have turned around and changed their strategies. And guess what? G2's change here, their adaptation will be the best adaptation if Alebs cannot displace Kanto Raketti.
I think I saw the hole open up and thought, oh, it must be the sledge above, but no, it was Kanto with the impacts, I think, up in train, opening up the floor below to make sure he can contest angles just like this. So yes, it will help them keep the wall protected for a little bit longer. Obviously now been opened up, so it's not the end of the world for them. 60 seconds remain. And it's still a 5 versus 5, so no early opening kill here. I say that as Kanto almost gets himself sprayed out, but he wins the counter fight against Alem, brings it into a 5 versus 4. You mentioned about this vertical angle. With no one now left to contest him, this could be a massive position for Kanto to hold.
He's really lit though, so even just a random spray above...
Oh, there it is.
A random spray above would get him, and now the execute surely does go down.
30 seconds left on the clock, and yes, finally that plant is going down from Playday. A 3 versus 3 as well, all things being equal. Renshiro strikes big, but once again, Citizen just comes up behind the planter and shuts him down. That should have been an angle that was being held by the other side, but Renshiro goes on to win 2 big gunfights against the last man standing as well, included in Virtue. BDS will take another round. That's 3 rounds on the attack for them so far. G2 currently sat at 2.
That last gunfight there was who could control the SMG, 10 meters range better than the other. And well, in that case, it was Renshiro. Wow, what a round. I said a random spray would collect the lesion. Don't mean to cast a curse those moments. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes you speak something into existence. That was a power position there. That vertical hold was really what should have won G2 that round. They would have been able to deny anyone running in either prep or in for the default plan. Going down and having Renshiro rotate up red to deal with that was the kicker there for BDS. I say both of these teams are experts in adapting to teams. Well, they are adapting, and counter-adapting, even just as the round progresses. So this is high-level siege here, and this is just a regular season game.
You know what I love about BDS, and as much as we sit there and go, oh, it's all the counterplay coming out of BDS, it was very slow counterplay. It wasn't really until the later stages of the round they thought, okay, actually, Kanto's going to give us a problem. We need to go and deal with him now. And they send a couple up there. Sure, one dies in the process and trade the other. You would think with that leaving you in a numbers advantage on the side that should be an easy win for G2, right? Absolutely not. Even when BDS mess up the plant and Citizen can get in and kill the player that's going for the plant, they still drag around over the finish line. So forgive me, BDS, I'm not trying to be too harsh here. For me, it's less like a strategical masterclass from BDS and more just sheer brute force. It's like a tidal wave crashing down on you, and even when you know that you feel protected, you've done everything right, they can still crush you out. It is unlucky for G2, but says an awful lot about BDS and the capability they've got as a roster.
G2 want to be able to master this top floor hold. Are they going to place that secondary shield? They're looking at those reinforcements. That might be the case. They've tried multiple iterations of this top floor hold, and this time there's going to be only one shield. They will leave that second wall soft in bathroom, and I don't think a secondary shield will go there. So this is their third iteration of setting up for a top floor hold. Although this is not the top floor site, it just goes to show that there are multiple ways G2 are thinking about holding it. Will this one work against BDS? It's hard to say, because I feel like BDS have spent the past few rounds working out exactly how to displace that Go-Yo shield there, and every time, I don't think Kanto Raketti's even killed anyone from this spot.
He hasn't. He's taken a couple of gunfights, but equally hasn't died from this spot either. And that's a very crucial thing to praise him for, I think. They've waited about 2 minutes both times. It has been good work, and we've touched on it leaves such a minimal amount of time for BDS to attack with once they get top floor control, that the actual execute is messy. One thing to touch on here straight away, though, is G2 haven't brought along the Kaid here. Uno's gone straight across the Melusi, just screaming to me they want to give them more of a fight on the top floor. They want to be able to contest and making use of those Banshees rather than relying on C4s and Denala a little bit later on. I spoke about Kanto never losing a fight on the shield. Well, guess what? Now he has. And who was it to? None other than Shaiiko.
He does it all. He'll cook the ADSs, he'll destroy the shield, he'll quick peek and ascertain the player's location rather than just full face peeking. He knows how to play this game, and he's identified how his utility works alongside it, which is really important to be a well-rounded player. On the side of G2, we're speaking about well-rounded players. Kanto Raketti goes down, but for the most part, he's known for fragging for G2. Now they've got to work out how to go up against players like Pengu, like Virtue, who's had a great game thus far, who all have C4s in hand, so this could be difficult.
Oh boy, when you're playing against a Denal game here, it's going to be rocky water for BDS. The floor is lava. No one's being blown up initially. No scorched ankles to worry about. But there's Goyo shields going off. The C4's being thrown up. I think there is now less floor than there is hole at this point, given the area of storage and bar and how messy it's starting to look. BDS has still got time to play with as well. Alem playing just outside of the doorway, ready to rush him when the moment comes in. Here he goes. Oh my god, they didn't even have no idea he was outside. Surely you see the open door and suspect that someone might have rotated down to watch that flank. But Virtue goes down. A 5 versus 3. BDS in a commanding position. They even watch the stairs and catch yet another. Playday picking up Pengu on the late round flank. They're in a spot to go for a plan. No smokes required. They are inside of the site, and this is a lot of work for Citizen and Uno to do if they want to be able to swing this back. This plant most definitely goes down, and it's even looking like a flawless round. Shaiiko does not lose those. A flawless round indeed to confirm the half. BDS take 4 attacking rounds here on Cafe.
A real niche and small aspect of that round that others might have missed, and we definitely miss in other rounds especially when we're watching the action happen, is that I believe it was a Lems on the Nomad there. He had a drone situated on the top of Brown stairs, and that split second of deciding, let me check it to make sure no one's below, saved his life, saved probably the planter's life as well as he was dropping down to go for the plant. It's little things like that BDS are employing to ensure they always know exactly where everyone is. And even in that case, having, was it Virtue or whoever on the go standing at reading door there? I mean, that was a bit of a misread of the situation, I think. But with the roofs so open up again above you, where else can you really stand? That's advantageous, so I get it. But I think BDS has got a nice mixture of, we've got really good gun skill, we've got really good utility usage, and we've got drones to back up knowing exactly where you are to employ it all. So it's a great mixture.
I thought we're seeing almost 100% pick rate for Kali in this matchup as well. The only round where we didn't see a pick so far was round number 5 when they dropped the Kali away to play the Maverick. And almost as if G2 have took the hint and gone, I get it guys, boost the stats, right, understood. Now you've got Pengu playing on it as well as their wall or as their denial removal gadget. Keen to see how it plays out because once again we're seeing more of these denial gadgets coming in for the side of BDS, the Goyo, the Maestro. Pretty much the go-to along with the mute as well. I guess the only thing you're looking at here and saying the only more damage they could look to be doing to bring something like a Melusi along, but at least with the Goyo and the Maestro, that's a lot of effort for G2 to have to go through to remove all those shields, the Evil Eyes as well. It's going to be that utility simulator for a little while until we finally see that execute come out.
BDS now on the defense.
This drone.
That's a great drone. I'm not sure it'll really pay dividends yet because there's no one there to act on the information. I think that's something you've criticized G2 on before, is their drone economy late round, is that they don't have drones to be able to act or actually get information and therefore act on it. And I also criticize the fact that there's a lot of drones spread around the map for many teams in EUL where they see a piece of information, but there's no one there to act on it. And that's where a lot of teams will lose out on getting advantageous positions.
Sometimes just sheer awareness is enough to help you out, though. Knowing that a player is in this area of the map, okay, that means the Goyo's not on site, he's playing for C4 kills, whatever else it might be. There's lots of things that can weigh in to help you out there. I will give a bit of a nod to G2. They haven't lost a single drone so far, and they find the opening kill onto Shaiiko. Could you ask for a better person to kill to start the round off?
Yeah, bad positioning there from Shaiiko. He well deserved to go down to the skylight. That's an angle everyone knows you can be seen from. And a really good opening pick to just blow this round wide open as we reach the halfway mark, because what you need now for G2 is you need to get some of those walls open. You need to be, oh goodness me, Did he light him up? He did. No, he didn't.
Yeah, half HP.
That was Bride above. Okay, so he went down to grenade damage, but I thought Alems was absolutely getting shot through the wall there. That had to have come from that drone from before.
He's still hanging around the same area, road corridor a little bit out towards train. Now gonna beeline it straight back up White Stairs to rejoin his team on the top floor. Feels like he's wasted enough time, and clearly the side of G2 are being a little too cautious to enable this C4 play that they might be looking for. You can see a level grouped up now inside of freezer, inside of storage, around the bathroom. This is very much a standard go-to hold here where they don't want to give up white control. They still want to be able to come contest into the bar doorway with the drones they've got set down, and Uno is ready and raring at the go. Also to note, by the way, is of course on the Ash here. We noticed this change a couple of weeks ago where you've got Citizen playing on these more utility-based flex operators like the Nomad, and Uno has been given Ash duty.
Fair enough. As long as they can get the job done, it doesn't matter. And there's been a lot of pressure applied here to BDS with 30 seconds left. That's actually a lot of time considering the fact that they have most of the control they need. The only problem now is freezer and bathroom, and that's what I mean. Rafale in bathroom. He's going to hit heads if you don't displace him. G2 now, the big focus is to get rid of him and then go for the plant.
Well, there we go. Rafale with his second kill lem from back towards the south as well. And I think you still got Renshiro hanging in towards bar here to try and contest. Pengu is going to get away with the plant, though, with a bit of help from those smokes. They have denied what they need to, but Briday's going to collect yet another kill. And all they've got to do is stop Virtue on the skylight here. He's going to absolutely go for it and drop down, but sadly is cut down by the side of BDS. Nothing more to ask. BDS will go up 5-2.
Oh no, I think what happened there, and I might be wrong here, I might misjudged what had happened, but I think he wanted to throw his smoke out to cover exactly where the diffuser was, to buy him a little bit more time on the timer. It bounced off a little piece of the glass on the skylight and actually exploded in front of him, meaning he couldn't see. So whether or not it was a clutchable situation or not, I'm not sure, given you 1v3 and all they have to do is look at skylight and shoot, you know, decently well. That's yet to be seen, but 5-2. You're on your first defensive round as BDS. You managed to get a retake. You managed to pretty well stop G2 out on their attacking round. And I said before, G2 is a very defensive-sided team on Cafe, and it's starting to unfortunately look that way.
Well, attacking and defensive sided apparently for BDS if this trend continues. This round we look to a different kind of denial as we head downstairs, so not looking towards the Maestro, not looking towards the Goyo, instead going towards Intel denial with the Mozzie, looking towards Wall denial coming out with the Kaid, for which there is no Maverick on the other side, so there will be a big reliance on Pengu being able to destroy those Electro Claws, and otherwise it's looking more towards things like the Malusi for the more passive denial, I guess is the way to look at it. What I want to see is the impact that Shaiiko has here. There are no ADS is being brought along. There is no Jaeger, of course, with my being banned away. There's also none of those. So if they get themselves in a good spot here, Kanto could come up pretty big for the side of G2.
Yeah, no Jaeger is really interesting. Didn't he have a 96% pick rate throughout all of EUL thus far? I mean, it was a humongous number. No matter what it was huge. And so for it not to be here makes me think that the other operators they've brought in lieu of him are so important that they just couldn't fit a Jaeger. Just looking at Shaiiko on the Vigil, we've seen him do monstrous things with it, but my pure thought is that they want to roam with this. I think the point is that the gun skill, the leisure mines and everything is the forefront of their strategy for this round.
As well as looking towards the Mozzie, even helping him out as much more as they can.
No way.
Pengu! Shaiiko has a field day. I think he got one shot out all round there from the Kali as well, from that bolt action sniper, and nothing else to be found from it. So those walls could stay very firmly closed unless Citizen can do some magical work on this IQ from above.
You can only really laugh at moments like that because what Pengu was trying to do was open the hatch from below. I think that's what he was trying to do, or at least he was trying to open some line of sight that was a little bit more upward than if he had gone above. No, I don't think so. I don't know. Whatever he was trying to get, he unfortunately got punished for it, and that's something where Pengu actually was in a really safe position. He didn't necessarily even think he would get punished for doing that, and I don't think he should have either, but Shaiiko says otherwise, and fair enough. Play as you might, but losing the Kali now, is it a big deal? Yes. Freezer is fully closed. Hatch is open though, so there is some reprieve there for G2, or for G2.
That's the starting point, but there's a lot more to be worried about and to deal with here because they've still got players on the upstairs. Citizen might be a walk face first into his Dune. Now, they have a lot of drones left. Not many of them have been picked off, but small things like that, not knowing that someone is inside of reading, is the kind of thing that is going to be punishing you super hard. There is going to be a trade coming out from Kanto as he swings back round to catch the flank that might come out from Ravel, evening things out yet again at 3. We joked about this on Villa earlier. The number 3 is following us everywhere, it feels like today.
A little bit, but I think everyone's thinking of a certain number 4 for some reason. I'm not entirely sure. And as we...
3s and 4s, the dream.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Maybe not the amount of time you would want on the attack to be able to start opening up these vertical holes, but they still have Virtue with the hard breach, so for the most part, there's a lot they can do here. No more C4s left on the side of BDS, so there's not a lot of denial. This is just going to come down to gunplay now. G2 need to go collect the diffuser, get ready to go for the plant, because it looks like White will be their target.
Oh. It was Shaiiko as well. They have got a drone on red stairs right now, so he could push straight up into that. In fact, no, he's straight back on site. Needs to watch out for those vertical angles that the Sledge was holding earlier on. In fact, it's Playday who nearly gets sprayed down from them, but he is backed away from playing out towards the east. And these are the grenades I was on about that can swing through for free with no ADSs present. They will find one. It's a 3 versus 2. Can they do enough to hold them back here? Kanto goes down. Virtue's low. Uno almost down, but Shaiiko gets put down into the dirt there. Everyone's down on the ground here. A C4 comes out. I think it gets shot out the air. No. It doesn't connect. G2 managed to snatch the round back there in what felt like a relatively impossible situation. In part of it, thanks to a wonderful grenade. Yes, they did. Ooh, that could have been a double if it placed it ever so slightly to the left.
The big thing there was for BDS is they didn't know they had down the diffuser holder and the one who was meant to plant the diffuser. So the fact that that was down, it was in the dying seconds, had BDS run away, which I know they couldn't have known to do, they would have won the round. But G2 pushed and pushed and pushed and made something of that round, which was really good to see because they actually brought that round out of nowhere. A round in their hand they desperately need, because if BDS win one more round, then they're in at least 1 point, and that will propel them into how many points? It will propel them into 36 points overall for stage 1 and stage 2. That's, what, 11 wins? And if they draw this, 3 draws, or 12 wins, 2 draws, and only 3 losses in the entirety of both stages. And that's phenomenal.
I've only just clocked as well, the only spot that is currently open for contention is that 4th place spot for the EU finals in December.
Yep.
Currently, you've got Team Empire sat there, which feels like a surprise. You've got Virtus Pro sat in 3rd place. Them, G2 and BDS, the 2 teams that you can see on your screen now, are already locked in for our finals. And that leaves Empire, Tempera, Secret, Vitality, Na'Vi, and Rogue all fighting for that spot. I think for Rogue now they can't get it, but the rest are all within points range, within grabbing distance to secure that spot. What a comeback that would be for some of those teams who had a pretty shoddy stage 1.
Well, now you've got to wonder, what does this game mean to both of these teams? Because they've already well solidified their places in the EUL finals. Now we've got to work out, well, is this just the rivalry that we're seeing here? We're seeing the ferociousness of both of these teams when they go head-to-head. I think G2's got quite a bit of pride that they want back from BDS after the reverse sweep held against them at the mini-major. We spoke about that before as well. And with this next round, it will tell me whether or not G2 has been able to adapt to the playstyle we're seeing of BDS here on defense. I wouldn't say that it's dynamically more aggressive. I actually think that G2 played a lot of aggressiveness as well on their defense, and I think it's been quite equal. I just think that BDS are able to stall them out to the point of forcing them to make sloppy plays, but G2 have held themselves composed.
And it's an example of that. Look at how often Kanto was contesting and how long he was hanging around for on that pixel angle on the Jaeger. He was there until he was forced away quite literally by the other side. And speaking of being forced away, Shaiiko goes, I am unmovable as long as there's an ADS at my feet. And he's in a spot here where right underneath the skylight, he's looking to contest in towards Cigar and potentially... Oh, you must be joking me.
There's not a way. There's no way.
No words.
You can only laugh.
Let's just appreciate how ridiculous. Yeah, you said that so many times this game, because if you don't laugh, you'll cry. Uno's down, and I'm sure he's looking at thinking, how the hell has he just not done that one? 13 kills Shaiiko's got here across the space of 9 rounds. It's not quite the 3 KPR that we saw after 3 rounds earlier on, but it's still a pretty godly performance. And even looking at his entries here, he's on 5 entries on this map, and he isn't done in this round just yet. Up to 14 kills and still looking to contest more. If he carries on at this pace, this could be a record broken, but BDS is saying there is no more record to be found. Or we want to end this here and now. Shaiiko goes down. Either way, it's a 4 versus 2, and Shaiiko could well get picked up up here as long as someone is there to support him without him getting sprayed down by someone else. And I don't think G2 are even fully aware that they managed to get him down here, to be honest with you.
Is that a mute trick I was seeing there? I mean, the Kali's gone, so they've got nothing to worry about there. They could just place it down and be happy that none of those Selmas could go off. And a 2v4, unless they pick Shaiiko up, seems a tall order here for G2. Virtue's had a really good game, so if anyone could clutch it out, I do believe that it would be him. But there's 30 seconds left, 4 people to go through. They're playing really passive at this moment. I just don't see it happening.
Good night. Yeah, it's definitely not happening. I thought the player that was on White Stairs was actually on Shaiiko, and that Sean, they were on the animation of like getting him back up, but no, it was just Bredey playing the bait game almost there and playing behind and saying, well, when they come and kill me, guess what? Bredey's here to strike big and collect that closing kill. That puts at least BDS guaranteed to a draw at this point. What more can G2 do? Now, it's worth mentioning, and I don't at all mean to take away from how cool this game has been, how great and amazing it has been. No matter what happens in this game, there is no movement when it comes to the overall standings. G2 are very, very secure when you look at how they're sat on 26 points.
Yep.
Or they're 31. They're on 31, sorry. The team below them is on 26. Yeah. So the overall standings don't change, but standings for stage 2 for the major do matter because G2 are on 13 points. They are in 5th place, tied with Team Empire and Team Secret, who are 3rd and 4th right now. If that doesn't tell you how close this might still shape up to be and how influential this result could be on next week, I don't know what else is gonna.
Well, now we're just playing to see whether or not G2 can win the next 3 rounds in a row. They've looked a little bit shaky on their second half, and in fact, almost on both halves now, as BDS has just slowly clawed through. No matter what setup they have, what push they've been able to employ, BDS has found a way, for the most part, to be able to dismantle it. I think the big thing now, and I'm looking over to my statistics, and I can actually say that this time I have a big sample size to work with. This time, Des, I have 8 full maps of statistics to go through, and the top floor for BDS, at least on defense, has a win rate of about, I'm trying to quantify this, about 65% win rate on top floor.
Quick maths.
Quick maths.
65%. I'll take those odds. They sound like good odds. Looking inside of storage, they're going for the same setup we saw coming out of G2, let's not forget, where you have that shield down inside of storage, you open up half the wall, you use that to contest inside of piano. It stops the attackers getting the early control inside of what is a critical, almost like jump pad to go from. You've got to start there to then launch an offensive forwards. That is kind of your entry into the building, of course, along with Cigar at the same time. So it just slows the attackers down. They have to worry about pixel, they've got to worry about storage, they've got to worry about, is there someone inside of Cigar looking to contest us early in the round? It does give a lot of food for thought for G2, I think, and looking at how the top floor setup is so far, it is a little bit more defensive. You've got Shaiiko playing once again in the same spot, and I was going to say, if he stays here, he will just get shot from the same spot once again. They know where he likes to play. They know there's an ADS there, so you can almost guarantee that he is going to be in that position. A little more aware here thanks to those drones coming in. I think Kanto managed to keep it alive, and here he goes for an attempt on Shaiko's life.
He does have an ADS next to him, and Kento Raketti will drone that exact utility piece out. Droning him over and over again doesn't really do much, however. He's trying to give callouts to his teammates, I think is the point here, is he's trying to say, this is the positions of the players, how do you want to deal with them, how can we go about it? You can hear a lance going off in the background from Pengu on the Kali, and I wonder what that was, displacing there. We'll see whether or not maybe that was a shield, maybe that was over towards bathroom. Well, there's no shield there anymore, so that's exactly what it is. And now that Selma will be able to go off, but Rafael shoots around White Door and shoots it off. Yikes.
Almost gets himself tagged up a little bit in the process. He is down to that 1/3 lower HP. And why would you do it a second time, knowing that someone is watching the angle? Pengu for free collects him, interestingly with the secondary rather than the primary there to go for that shot as well. Didn't trust himself to hit the first one, potentially to rely on the secondary, which has a much higher rate of fire. That at least means they'll be able to get a couple of these walls opened up. We are still 2 minutes in, and they will be looking for the control they need. Citizen was looking to do some work on the below, I think, but Alem, of all people, comes down for the rotate and kills him off. 4 versus 4 with 44 seconds to go.
This really doesn't look good for G2, and as I say that, Renshiro takes down Virtue, and there goes a little bit more of hope for G2. Smoke's gone as well, Des. Not much left for them here, but Uno, can the firepower be what they need to bring themselves back into the battle?
Turns into the threes once more. 3 versus 3. 25 seconds to play with. This is going to be a very bloody closing to this round. Shaiiko steps up and finds one, but Renshiro is down. A glorified 2 versus 2 steps in, and Pengu finds a great shot to Renshiro to finish him off. Now it's a guaranteed 2 versus 2, no longer glorified. Pengu knows where one is playing, but we know what happens when you challenge Shaiiko in these angles. Well, apparently not, because Pengu finds a triple. That is one way to drag your team back through the round. It's a 1 versus 1 as Uno is down, but the time! They haven't got the time! That's a heartbreaker. May have found the kill, but that down inside a cigar, I completely missed it, I won't lie. Manages to close the round out for them. Unfortunate, because that looked to be a very close round ending, but sadly, time waits for no one, G2.
It's almost ironic that Shaiiko will be rocking the G2 Pro League set there on his Jaeger, as he just wipes the floor with G2 after that game. And it started off really close, Des. We were absolutely hyped at the way that round 1 went. It looked really good for G2, but it slowly fell apart as BDS picked apart all of their strategies, all of their meta, bit by bit, both on attack and defense. That was a really good matchup there by G2 and BDS.
Absolutely, and just looking at how spicy next week is going to be, G2 play against Tempra, who aren't looking like a shoddy team at the minute. There's going to be 2 teams that win next week, maybe even 3, that mean that we have a crazy 3-way fight for 2 potential spots at the major. It's going to be ridiculous, and I'm very, very sure Happer's got a whole lot more he can tell us about. Let's go over to the desk and get the thoughts from the guys over there.
Thanks so much, guys. Hell of a final game.